scam, this whole thing.
Life is a scam.
This thing is a scam. Life is a scam. Everybody's in on the scheme, this whole thing.
Death and destruction. Life is a scam.
This thing is a scam, this whole thing. Life is a scam.
Life is a scam. Life is a scam.
This thing is a scam.
Adam Curry, John C. Divorak.
It's Thursday, July 23rd, 2026. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination episode 1888.
This is No Agenda.
Well, with the passing of John C. Divorak, I think is only fitting that I declare July 20th a national holiday in the honor of John, the co-creator of the best podcast in the universe.
Welcome to episode 1888 of the best podcast in the universe, your No Agenda show. Family, today I have a hole in my heart you could turn a 747 around in. John C. Divorak, my friend, my business partner, my comedic counterpart, my all-time favorite broadcaster, is no longer here to share the joy of what we love to do twice a week on Thursdays. Almost 19 years ago, we decided to hit record on conversations we were having when I was living in London and John in San Francisco. We discussed the news, me on my side looking through the Financial Times or the British tabloids, John on his side looking through the New York Times and the San Francisco Chronicle. We talked about technology, we talked about cooking, we talked about our lives. We didn't know if anyone really found it interesting, but we didn't care. We were just recording it because, well, hey, maybe someone out there would enjoy listening. From the very first show, we promised that this podcast would never have jingles, commercials, bips and boops, sound effects, anything basically standard broadcast, and boy, were we wrong. We also never had listeners. From the early episodes, we decided that in order to make this work financially without staff, everybody would have to be a producer, contributing their time, talent, and treasure. We called ourselves media deconstructionists, but really, we were just trying to impress each other, make each other laugh with the things we found or the punchlines we would deliver to each other. Since John passed, I've been listening to older shows, trying to pick clips, which is just virtually impossible. Because every single show had something magic in it. Even our notorious arguments were beauty in itself. We always felt that when people were uncomfortable listening to us argue or kvetch, that it was like mom and dad having a fight. And to us as broadcasters, that was a success because we touched people emotionally the same way as if we'd made them laugh. Now, don't get me wrong. We always wanted to make people laugh. And without even ever having discussed it, we both felt that looking at the world around us, the news that's shoved in our face, most of it not true, or merely to promote some other entertainment product, having the ability to look through it all and laugh at it would make the world a better place for our family, our No Agenda family, No Agenda Nation. John was the most unique man I'd ever met. The first time I ever spoke with him was on an episode of Twit, audio only. We were both remote, I think, and at the end, there was a little bit of chatter off air, and John said, "Hey, Curry, what's your deal? Are you rich, or what's going on with that?" I said, "Why don't we have lunch? I'll tell you all about it." That was the beginning of a long friendship and partnership. The most beautiful thing about John is that we had complete trust in each other. The division of work, the consistency, even in business, the entire operation was based on a handshake. Even though the IRS later made us form an LLC because they couldn't understand what all these $3.33 checks and cash about coming in every single week. We rarely spoke outside of the show. Maybe if a server was down or something had happened that would affect business process, we might have a short text, email, or a phone call. We never discussed what we were going to do on the show. Everything was completely unscripted. And this is the point I really want to make. This wasn't just a show, it was a performance. It was not Adam and John just bringing clips in with their opinion. It was like a dance. Imagine that, having the privilege to dance with John for 6 hours a week. We stepped on each other's toes sometimes, but we always kept dancing until the band was done playing. John may be a better broadcaster too. His timing was impeccable. He even compensated for network delay in the early days of Skype, and we got into a rhythm where I would start the clip when his lead-in was done. It was smooth most of the time. Like thousands of others, he taught me how to question everything, even the absurd, which would often require a theremin. Above all, he made me a better man. I once tried to tell him how he was kind of like a father figure to me in many ways, which he immediately shunned and said, "Don't ever say that again." Okay, then maybe uncle, grandfather, brother, whatever it was. I am privileged to have had him in my life for the past 2 decades. Many people came to know No Agenda during COVID, which we had quickly figured out to be some epic scam. And as we worked through it with our humor, it gave a lot of people rest and a feeling that they were not alone. And while I know many of you came for the media deconstruction, pretty much everybody stayed for the stories and the wealth of history that John had and the jokes we would make together. After each show, at the end of show ISO would run, we'd probably say something like, "Hey, that was a good show." And John would always say, "Yeah, solid B+." I would look for the opening clips, which is always funny to do, listen to whatever nonsense John had spouted out. Then we'd select the art, which we argued about often, but that wasn't too bad. We'd check the credits together, and we'd come up with a title. And he didn't have to, but John always stayed there for my final post-production, uploading to the servers, getting the show notes in order to 20-25 minutes. He's just basically waiting, only hearing me clacking on the keyboard. When everything was up and good to go, we always said the same thing. "Okay, talk to you Thursday. Adios." And that's exactly how last Sunday ended. Here's the good part for me. Oftentimes when someone is removed from life, you think of the things you could have said to that person, the things you wanted to say to that person. I am so fortunate because not only did I get to say it, I did. And he said everything he wanted and needed to say to me as well. It was all on the show, never behind the scenes. What you heard was the real deal. We both loved how No Agenda Nation grew. The community, the lingo, the different websites, the numerology, the inside jokes, the code words, the small family businesses that supported the show with their funny notes and their crazy promo codes, the meetups. Oh man, the meetups. We love this so much because it showed us that the show was bigger than just Adam and John. John took care of the business side of things, backed by his wonderful family, Mimi, Jay, Eric, JC. Everyone contributed. The newsletter, which we have often told other podcasters, is probably the most important business part of the show because we depend on your support. And whenever John said donations are low or threw a sad puppy, it was never a lie. It was always the honest truth. And he was never ashamed to tell you and ask you to help for us. And you did. These past few days have been quite overwhelming. The social media posts, the thousands of emails, stories, and yes, many prayers. And not just people saying thoughts and prayers, real prayer. Reading through as many as I could, replying to as many as I possibly could, I kept seeing one theme. People would never say, "Hey, remember when you deconstructed that story or you poked through that narrative?" No, it was always about the humor and the stories. I was blown away when just a few shows ago I learned about yet another job that John had had in the past. He was a never-ending, deep well of beautiful, hilarious, and informative life stories. But there's more in these messages from our producers. There's a feeling of community, a sense of family, coming together with love for each other. Ask yourself, did you even think about the war in Iran during these past 24 hours? I sure haven't. It wasn't that kind of the point of what John brought us, a way to look at things from a different perspective, a somewhat laissez-faire attitude because it made you feel that he had seen it all before and nothing was new under the sun. And he's right. It's clear that No Agenda will never be the same without John. This family, this community that we built with him is too big and too vast to end. And while I'm not exactly sure how we will move forward from here without him, today and on Sunday's show, just like any family, we will honor the man who we loved, who we cherished, who we laughed with, and all valued as being part of our lives. My only prayer now for today is that John is in heaven saying, "Crap, Adam was right." See you on the other side, John. Love you. Mean it.
Woke up this morning singing a new song. Everything has changed. Walking around the same old world, it's never gonna be the same. But in my heart and in my mind, I'll keep you there to stay. I'm gonna miss you in the morning. You always always there for me in the morning. I hope to see you someday in the morning. In the morning, yeah. I'm gonna miss you in the morning. You're always there for me in the morning. I hope to see you someday in the morning. Hope to see you someday.